France and Wales. France, dreadful again. Let's start with that.
France don't...
Everyone turns to me.
Everyone turns to the Wales supporters.
Let's go down from the end. Ed, France, dreadful.
France are dreadful. Yeah, I mean, OK, they're not the French team that we know of 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. And they're not the team that we had maybe 3 or 4 years ago when it was a 50-50. Who'd you get? The kind of magicians who play beautiful running, offloading the tackle, rugby, or do you have the flops? I don't think it's easy to go to Paris and win, but at the same time, Wales didn't make it necessarily easy for themselves. We are second to Ireland with a high ball, and I think Dan Biggar plays a fantastic aerial game. And I think the chase was there. We used our strength and power in the centres.
So can Wales still win the championship? Is that?
Yes.
You can't count them out. I think purely on the history of the last 10 years, and Ollie will know that I forever go on about this, but you can't count them out because we've done it before in 2013.
Yeah, they lost the first match.
When we lost the first match and we went on a great run. And I think what we've learned from the autumn internationals, and again going back to Dan Biggar, is we have someone who pulls everyone aside and says, right, last 10 minutes, this is what we're going to do.
That was a huge game for Biggar on Saturday. That was a real coming of age moment. He was
How
fantastic.
on this Saturday?
So,
just gone.
As in the French game, he was.
For me,
Webb has been excellent all tournament as well. Yeah, that pairing is starting to
Webb
really
for
go.
Ospreys has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been the best in the Celtic League, in my opinion, has been the best scrum half. But again, the crunch test is against the Irish.
So certainly can't count Wales out. Now, there's obviously a big issue surrounding the sacking of the manager for France. Is this something that's likely to happen before the World Cup? Obviously, it's getting pretty much too close for that to happen.
If it
Opinions
happens,
on this?
he can't have any complaints. He's from a country with a huge rugby population, a huge rugby following. I think their win percentage under him is 45%, which is
shocking. It's 3 out of 10.
Is it really?
Actually, 3 out of 10. And I don't know if it's now 3 out of 11 after Saturday or that. But
that's
it is
unbelievable for France.
And they even brought in Serge Blanca to help out, so he stepped back from his clothing line in France to help out. Yeah. But more importantly, again, it goes back in the same question for Saint-André that Lancaster has, in my opinion, selection. It's been a big issue in Le Monde.
And what you were saying before was about identity.
Yeah.
And France, at the moment, they're stuck in this place where they're known for playing beautiful, expansive rugby, and they can just turn it on like that.
They're just ugly ball
And now
they've
got Bastrode in midfield, who all he does is run straight.
He was dropped at the.
And he was dropped. But
it's not just Bastrode. The whole team. Like, I don't know whether anyone watched the Ireland game, and they talked to Schmidt afterwards about, they were quite. I thought the press were quite harsh on Schmidt. They were like, oh well, your team are known for playing running rugby, and they didn't make any line breaks today. And Joe Schmidt was just like, look, they're a big physical team, and we had to play the way we had to play today, ugly, to beat them, because that's how they play. The thing that I find so bizarre, it's not really from our generation, but Saint-André was part of that, was a guy who was a huge part of this French team that loved to score tries and loved to throw the ball wide.
Do we think he's got a future now to the World Cup?
No.
Ollie?
Sorry, I didn't hear what the question was.
Saint-André, has he got a future?
Do I think so? Well, let's see if...
He can't have any complaints if he gets sacked, can he?
If they beat England and they play amazing rugby...
You think that's the deciding...
He might have a chance, but
what's their game in week 4? Who have they got left?
They've got...
France? Yeah, they've got Italy.
They've got Italy.
So but the problem is...
They might not even beat Italy at the minute.
No,
it's really not that...
And Italy have come through.
But again, it's on and off topic. Italy aren't the whipping boys anymore. But my thing is that the French press are baying for blood with Philippe Saint-André.
But I think that tends to happen. Somebody's head's got to roll. Now, a topic that's been brought up a little bit is the players individually seem to play better outside of playing for that team. Why is that? What's not working with that team?
Picking Lopez to kick.
Oh my God.
I mean, we heard it from the commentators. Lopez doesn't kick for Clement. Morgan Parra does. They both played together. Philippe Saint-André put Lopez in. Lopez then misses 2 kicks, blames the tee. Parra comes on, kicks, misses. Goes back to Lopez. There's just no consistency. And in the World Cup year, if I was the coach, I would believe it would be better to try and gel 15, maybe 18 players.
Certainly what they need to do.
He needs to. Well, it's what we talked about earlier. Players like to know their role in a team and what's expected of them. They want the coach to come and say, look, I want you to try and do X, Y, and Z. I know that you can't do such and such a bit of your game, so I'm not going to expect that from you. I'm going to bring in someone else to do that role in our team. It's like when you have...
It's actually exactly what Schmidt has done in Ireland.
Well, yeah, but does this apply?
If he could spread himself out around all of them.
But does it apply to the French? Because the French, I mean, if we look everyone, the French players from the football team to the rugby team...
There has to be... I know what you're going to say, and it's all beautiful, but there has to be a certain amount of pragmatism.
Yes, but
otherwise it's just a mess.
Think you can just... I don't think that the Joe Schmidt or even the Warren Gatland or the Lancaster approach fits to them.
Yeah,
I believe very much that they... 80% you could go, it's just give them a ball and let them run.
But even you must agree there's got to be some greater sense of consistency of selection and philosophy and roles than there currently is, because there's none.
Yeah, again, you know, I think they've had nearly as many centre pairings as you have, plus Bastereau.
And the 9 and 10. A team is built on a 9 and 10.
Yeah, well, I mean,
what on earth are they? I mean, you've said it.
Well,
already.
they play for Clermont together. You think they play well, but what did he do? He didn't play Para the previous game. He played...
Neither of them know if they're going to be in the team or not.
I think that is
It's
a
almost
massive
like
issue
it's
that
a
you brought up.
shooter.
The team has not gelled together, has it?
Yeah, I mean, France looks all sorts. And if I was the French manager, the coach, I would definitely be looking over my shoulder.
Yes, he can't complain, has he?
And I think Parise must be relishing the idea of... I think... Are they
Yeah.
playing in... I think
They're playing in Rome. They're
right?
playing in Rome, aren't
So
they?
he
They
must be
always were.
relishing
Yeah, they're
the
playing in
idea
Rome.
of
Of course, I
beating
forgot.
Scotland in the last minute, France coming with an under...
Second-rate team.
nil point team. You know,
Parise's got to relish this, because I always feel sorry for Parise in that he'd be more than good enough to be in one of the top sides of the world.
well, if he played for
He'd
the All
walk
Blacks,
into-
he'd be World Player of the Year, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
He'd walk
exactly.
into any team as number 8, apart from maybe the All Blacks.
Yeah, because
Kieran.
yeah,
Kieran
of course.
Reid, I mean...
Yeah, exactly.